Okay, shalom, shalom, kum yasha'Allah, koholoimla, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rechachachodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, and thereby the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yahchanan Nawach, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And copyright disclaimer, playing a couple of news feeds, but just want to throw that disclaimer out there. Fair use under the Section 107 Copyright Act of 1976, just in case. So I'm we're gonna grab a couple of these little news articles on teeth of wild beasts and pretty much animal attacks, because it's been happening as of late a lot more because we're in the last days, man. So let me just get it real quick.
Here in Tullahoma are investigating a tragic situation. They say a 50-year-old man and his 3-month-old granddaughter were killed after being attacked by pit bulls at their home here. Family members sent me this photo of Jane Smith with the baby. They say it's absolutely devastating that they were both already dead and covered with mauling dogs when police officers got to the house. A neighbor sent us this video showing the massive police response on Wednesday afternoon when this all happened. Police say that they actually had to go into the house and kill some of the dogs just to get them to stop attacking the people's bodies. The district attorney put out this statement today saying they're still working with police to investigate exactly what happened and figure out if any charges might have to be filed. In that statement, they said they're going to look into any past violent history involving these dogs or other issues that were going on in the home. I was able to talk with a neighbor today who actually has known James her entire life and says the family had 7 pit bulls that would sometimes get out of their yard and chase after neighborhood dogs, but she never thought that they would cause any harm to humans.
They're all having to fight for their food and, fight for attention. They got plenty of attention with all the people over there and all. Like, they're good people. They take care of their dogs, but it's a lot of dogs to have in one home with a lot of kids and a lot of other people. It's like chaos all the time.
On top of having to mourn these tragic deaths, the family actually lost their home. The building was condemned by the codes department in Tullahoma after the investigation into everything that was going on there. And because of that, they're looking for a new place to live along with clothes and other things like that to help all of the grandkids out with. They started this GoFundMe and are also taking donations right now. If you go to this website, that's where you'll be able to find the entire list of the things they need.
Okay. Let's get this Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 28, also known as the Book of Sirach in the 1611 King James Bible. And it reads, "There be 9 things," Salakia. I'm thinking about Ecclesiasticus 25 and 7, 9 things that have judged my heart to be happy. Esau coming to an end, man. Salakia for that. But this is Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28. "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sword strokes. And the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beast." See? Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. Therefore they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. And we can't stress enough, man, repentance to the Father Yahweh in the name of his Son Yahweh Shai, and having a real reverence, a real fear of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Because the scripture says it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And the Lord done this. He created spirits of vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts is one of them. Right? I mean, it just is what it is. Now, it's a few scriptures we can get, because you can say, well, okay, well, what about the baby? What did the baby do? The baby's innocent, or that poor innocent young baby. You never know what they done in their past life, because we've lived past lives before. Somebody actually asked me last night, do I feel like I've ever lived here before? I didn't even go into it, because I didn't want to, that just would have been a whole another conversation. I kind of answered yes, but I didn't go into, like scriptural, type of deal. It's just regular conversation. And I didn't take it there. But I know that, yes, we've all been here. That's why we, should repent daily for our past lives, the sins that we committed in our past lives, and that Yahweh Bashim Shah will have mercy on us, man. But this is Job 4:7. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished me an innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? There's no one innocent on this planet. Because when you go into, let's get Deuteronomy, no, not Deuteronomy, Salaki, Ecclesiastes, Regulus 12:7, and it reads, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it. So there is no burning place underground. There is no floating place in the sky where people go, because Esau, the so-called white man, that's a biblical name for the so-called white race. He has sold the world the Savior looks like them. He's some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. You know what I'm saying? Actually, they're pinkish and reddish in color because they're Edomites. And that's Deuteronomy chapter 25 describes them as being Edomites. Them coming out reddish in color because they're pinkish to reddish. They're not, like white. Like they don't look like a glass of milk. But they've sold the world. And when you Google, all the whole hookup, even the whole shit, man. You Google God right now, or you Google His Son, or you Google angels, or disciples, or prophets, or Mary, or whoever in the Bible. All you're going to see is so-called white people depictions pop up. You're not going to see Chinese, Japanese, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, or anything like that. But the Lord actually looks like the so-called blacks, or Hispanics, Native Americans, because, we're all darker, we were all darker skinned people. But back in the ancient days, he would have been considered to be a Negro, the Lord Yahweh. That's the true name of the Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And the true name of the Father is Yahweh, which it describes him as being dark. It describes the angels as being dark. But what Esau has done, he has, given you these white images of the Father and Son, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and got the world believing that there's these lily white people floating around in the skies, and that if you're not good, he's going to send you underground of earth. This guy named Satan, he's got this pitchfork, with the horns on his head, and he's torturing people, screaming people are in this lake of fire burning. And that shit is not in the Bible nowhere, man. Your spirit, let me get this back again. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh who gave it. So your spirit goes directly back to the Lord. Now judgment is under the sun. Let me get this. In chapter 3, Ecclesiastes 3, and verse 16, because your spirit goes back to the Lord, you get a judgment for what you've done in that life. He puts parents back together, they have sex, you're reborn again, you come back into the earth, you don't remember what happened in your past life. You live it out. Some people come back with an arm missing, 2 legs missing, not in their right frame of mind, slobbing at the mouth, need somebody to take care of them. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But this is Ecclesiastes 3:16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So judgment is under the sun. So what's under the sun? The planet, Earth. Right? So let me get one more before I get this next video. Let's do this to just prove that the Lord is the one that, he's the one that's in control of all this stuff. Now let me get the one, and let's get Deuteronomy 39 real quick. It says, see now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. See, it's the Lord, the one that sent the spirits of vengeance on those dogs to get down on those people. And they could be Israelites or Edomites, or they could be Elamites or Moabites or Ammonites, because it's not a color thing. Don't let these people twist your mind into believing that colors are ethnicities. It's not. If you come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're an Israelite. If you come from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, you're an Edomite. And it's just that simple, man. So let me get this next video real quick, and we'll kind of close out.
weeks. Regulators.
What started as a trip to feed ducks at a Texas park ended with a 72-year-old woman being rushed to a trauma center. Her pelvis was broken after a flock of geese got aggressive and started attacking her. Matt Howerton explains how a simple visit spiraled into something more serious.
It's part of her normal routine.
Routines are supposed to bring balance to our lives, but Monday morning at City Lake Park in Roy City.
I was very shocked when she gave me the call. I wasn't even sure what was going on.
The quiet and peace David West's mother looks forward to daily brought her to the ground.
Feeding the little ducks, and large geese came up to her and started attacking the food, and she fell hard.
She is West's 72-year-old mother, Lydia. She likes feeding the ducks here each morning, a harmless thing to do. That is until a few geese got aggressive with her.
And she was trapped on the ground, unable to move. And she's very small statured, and she has other health concerns as well. A couple was walking through the park, and they were able to get the geese off of her, and they called the paramedics.
Lydia, taken to a Dallas trauma center, listen to some of her injuries.
Several breaks on one side of her pelvis, the internal bleeding. She has a long road of physical therapy and learning how to be able to walk. For her, it was a shock that the geese could even become that territorial and could hurt somebody.
Geese don't try to be the neighborhood bullies, but if they're protective or territorial, a nice walk in the park can suddenly turn into a standoff. And if you're elderly, have a small child or a small pet, that can feel a lot closer than comfort. The city's Parks and Community Programs manager confirmed the attack and says they're now considering signs to help people better share this space with the wildlife that call it home. As for West, he says he's speaking up for one reason.
One of our main concerns is being able to get a warning out there to the public, especially the senior community.
Okay, so you peep what it is, man. That's the basics on it. Now, it's plenty of examples of the Lord sending animals, on people. And
you're confident that when we're doing our search, we're not going to find an ID?
This is one of them, 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 25. And this was, when the children of Israel were replaced by these heathen, basically. But the Lord sent lions amongst them, man. 2 Kings 17 and 25, it says, and so it was the beginning of their dwelling there, and they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. See? So the Lord, he can send animals to do whatever he wants them to do. And there's been a lot of maulings going on, a lot of bear attacks, a lot of shark attacks, pit bull attacks, family pets. That's the crazy part, because generally, if I always heard about people getting attacked by, pit bulls, but it would normally be just a stray pit bull on the streets, not your own family pet, But birds have been attacking people, coyotes, you name it, though. I mean, shit, it's, it's people being attacked. Matter of fact, it was, what was it? What's those shits that be in the river? What was that? Beavers. Beaver attacks. There's been all kinds of attacks, and it's mainly Esau. Esau is the one that's being attacked by these animals, man. And there was another one, too, with the 42 she-bears that, let me see if I can find that. Just examples, man, you know what I'm saying? Because the Lord, he's the one that's in control of the spirits. He can send a spirit at any point among, he can put a spirit on your wife or your woman or your children, you know what I'm saying, or whoever. He can put a spirit on, just some random person, man. People been, doing all kinds of shit lately. But there is a spirit of vengeance. It's like it, yeah. Trying to see if I'm wording this right. I may have to find it in this particular. You know what? I could have gone to Salakia. Bear with me real quick. No, you stopped it. Fuck, Salakia, y'all. Damn, they got me on some shit. Yeah, this is in 2 Kings as well, with this bear attack on the children. See, the Lord, he's no respecter of persons, man. 2 Kings 2 and 24. And he turned back. Matter of fact, let me read verse 23. And now this is going off into Elisha, right? Very powerful prophet, very powerful man in the Lord by the Spirit, man. You know, and we're praying in the last days that we have those spiritual powers as well. You know, because hey, serious thing, man, to be dealing with Yahweh Bashim Shah. But we're gonna need special powers, man, with what Esau got. But this is 2 Kings 2:23, and he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children. See, the Lord is no respecter of person. Out of the city, and mocked him. Remember we read that Job 4:7. You know, whoever died being innocent, and said unto him, "Go up, thy bald head. Go up, thy bald head." So you know, little kids. You know what I'm saying? Picking on the elder man. In verse 24 it says, "And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth two she bears out of the woods, and tear 42 children of them." Yeah, I was wording it wrong, but that's what happened. So the Lord, He's capable of you anything, man. He can have, man, anything: insects, flies, mosquitoes, love bugs, whatever, man. The Lord can turn anything up, man, to get at you, man, as far as judgment, right? So let me just let's see here. Let's get a couple more. And like I said, bear with me because I'm working with a new phone, so I'm trying to figure things out. Um, Pretty simple and basic, but it's still a new phone. I still got to figure a few things out. But let's get this one in Isaiah real quick. Isaiah 45:7. Because you have to realize the Lord is a perfect balance, man. Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. And this is very important to know, because Esau has taught our people that he loves everything. You can just do what you want, and that's just not true, man. You want to be tight-lipped, so to speak. You want to be, it's really better to just be stoic and really, in fear of Yahweh Bashim Messiah and His might and what He can do. Let's get Amos 3:6 real quick. And it reads, "Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord have not done it?" Satan didn't do it. He's one of those spirits of vengeance. The Lord done it. He sends forth the spirits to handle business, man. Matter of fact, let's get that in 2 Kings. Oh, is it 1 Kings? It might be 1 Kings or 2 Kings. Give me a moment on this one. Let me see. I think it might be 1 Kings 22. Start at verse 19. Yep, this is it. 1 Kings 22 and 19. "And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven," which is the spirits of vengeance, and the left hand side and right hand spirits, man. "And all the hosts of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left." Right? So the Lord, He has spirits that handle certain things. You can't have a right without a left, because the Lord, He's even with it. You know what I'm saying? He's let me get that real quick. We'll come back to this. Ecclesiasticus 33. Let me start at verse 13. Because the Lord is a perfect balance. You can't have evil without good. He created both equally too. So to speak. And He wills it the way that He wants. Ecclesiasticus 39:13. I'm going to start there, but the point is in 15. "As the clay is in the potter's hand, to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as liketh them best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon this is the point. So look upon all the works of the Most High, Yahweh, that's the true name of the Father. And there are two and two, one against another." So you go back up to verse 14 right here. It says, "Good is set against evil." That's a 2 and 2. Life against death. That's a 2 and 2. One against another, right? So it's plain. Now let's go to, let me get another one before I go back to the story of this guy the Lord is setting up to get the business. Because the Lord, he sets everybody up. Everybody's demise is already set. Proverbs 11:1. It says, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. So it will be a false balance to have good without evil, life without death, up without down, wet without dry. I say that all the time in these videos: slow without fast, empty without full, negative without positive. You can name anything. It's a complete opposite to it that's equal to it. Yin yang or whatever they may call it. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back to that one. 1 Kings 22. I'm gonna start back at 19. So now we got some understanding on the left hand side and the right hand side that the Lord deals with, that he created. 1 Kings 22:19. And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him, on his right hand and on his left. See, you can't have right without left, you know. So the Lord, he got spirits of vengeance, and he got spirits to handle the good things, so to speak. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth the spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. So the Lord is asking, okay, who can set this guy up to get killed? Not that the Lord couldn't just do it any type of way that he want, but this shows you an attribute of the Lord, man. Verse 22, and the Lord said unto him, it's like verse 21, and there came forth the spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. This is one of those spirits of vengeance. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also, go forth and do so. So the Lord like, yep, that's going to work. Go ahead and do it. And if you read on through the story, what you're going to see is that's exactly what happened. And this guy got killed. So the Lord set him up. So so it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, man. He wounds and he heals. Right? I can get one more in 1 Samuel. Straight to the point, man. 1 Samuel 2:6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. So the Lord, everybody's situation that everyone is in, they're in that situation because the Lord set them up in that situation. And there's no such thing as free will. Because if you have free will, you will be all-knowing. And if you was all-knowing, that will place you on the level of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And you're not on that level. No one knows what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds. But they telling you they got free will. There's plenty of people that was just sitting there laughing, giggling, and everything was all right. And then all of a sudden, calamity struck. That was the Lord sent calamity towards the asses. Now, had they had free will, they would have been like, oh, calamity is about to strike. Let me just go this way. Or let me shift this way. Or let me go to the right or left. Or let me just leave the vicinity. No, you know, that's not how it works, man. But 2 jump offs. Because this lady, she had, in this particular article, she had already had some pre-existing shit going on with her. At 72, she done broke her pelvis and like 4 or 5 different, I don't even know how that's even possible, but some older people are very frail like that, Samuel L. Jackson played that movie with Bruce Willis, I think it was called Mr. Glass. It was like he was a comic book collector or some shit. As a matter of fact, that was total opposites too. That's the spirit. Because one of them was absolutely immune. He was strong. And Mr. Glass that played Samuel L. Jackson part, he was in a wheelchair. He was always fucked up because the slightest little thing, he was so fragile, the slightest little thing would break his bones. That's the spirit, because there's an opposite. And that was that movie. That was a spiritual movie. If you've ever seen it, I'm not sure what year it came out. It's a little older, but that's a good movie to watch because that's spiritual. That's a 2 and 2. That was Mr. Glass's. He was like the villain in the movie, of course, the so-called black man. But his goal was to find somebody completely opposite from him. He like, well, if I'm so weak and frail, he was smart though. He was genius as far as his mind, but he was talking about as far as his body. He was like, if I'm so weak and frail, there has to be somebody on the opposite side that's got to be totally strong. And he started blowing up shit. He started, blowing up trains and blowing up planes and all this other shit. And I think Bruce Willis part, he was like the only survivor. And I think he was on a train. I'm gonna have to watch that movie back, but I remember that now. But that's a spiritual movie, man. Very spiritual movie. But the Lord created everything in twos, man. So He created wicked and He created good. So know that there's a wicked people on the planet and there's a righteous people on the planet, man. So it is what it is on that. I just wanted to touch on this. I thought it to be interesting. I always found these stories to be interesting. One of my favorite pastimes is seeing the judgment of Yahweh by Shemiah Shai and how He sends it forth and how He does it. And in so many ways, man, it's something different every single. It's just amazing. The Lord is just amazing, man. So I'm gonna end out there. Pray that the lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Yashar and the Bible Ball.